unfortunately, I need to rely on technology. So we'll just work with it today and hopefully we don't have any interruptions. So there we go. We are live now on Facebook and I'm joined by the lovely Praneeta Ranchhod from Innova Coaching on this friendly Friday where we like to come together, where businesses share and share alike, and especially entrepreneurs to help and inspire each other as we go along our journey. So thank you so much, Praneeta, for joining us this lovely Friday. And just a heads up, this is also Praneeta's very first interview. So this is exciting times for entrepreneurs. And as I often say, and we did on Wednesday, is don't be shy and get in front of the camera. It's always a time to shine. So welcome. Thanks for joining us, Praneeta, and we look forward to sharing with what you have to share with us.
Thanks for having me, Megan. It's going to be interesting.
Awesome. It's always a first for everything, right?
You know.
So just a quick bio on Praneeta. She's a chartered accountant qualified in 2012. She's worked in corporate since 2009 and left in the COVID pandemic. I left corporate in the middle of the pandemic to start something meaningful. She chose to become a business coach and business finance coach. She loves what she does and is very passionate about helping business owners, bringing sanity to their lives. I think that's how we often feel about finance. There's a special passion for financial literacy and education for small business owners. She loves being with family, reading, watching TV, working out, traveling, hiking, or not much of that at the moment, she says. And she's also married to Huresh with 2 dogs, Bingo and Jasmine. Love that story. Thanks so much, Praneeta. And I think, you know, as again, never too late to do anything, never too late to start your journey as an entrepreneur in something you absolutely love, which we've come to learn is finance. So hence the topic today, we're going to be talking a little bit about cash flow in business, because I think this is something often entrepreneurs are not sure about. What does it really mean? How can I do it? And so I've asked Praneeta to share with us today. But just let's start off by tell us a little bit about your journey, as I say, from corporate to coach.
So I worked in corporate from about 2009 to 2020. And then I left in 2020 when my company was offering, you know, they were going through a retrenchment process, and I took a package. I didn't actually know what I wanted to do at that point in my life, so I just bummed around at home, not doing anything for a couple of months. At some point, coaching came into my radar, and I had actually thought about it a few times before. You know, coaching sounds interesting, but I wasn't too sure what it was. And then I contacted Neil Roberts from SA Business Coaches. When you Google business coaching, I think his website is one of the first things that comes up, one of the first websites that came up. And I contacted him over LinkedIn, and we had a chat about what business coaching was, and, you know, whether it was a viable career option, etc., etc. And then he was starting intake of training in September. So I signed up for his course, and here we are.
Okay.
About a year later, yeah.
Sure. So yours was really, you kind of weren't even sure you were going to land up being a coach yourself.
I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew it was something meaningful. I had done the whole leave university, get a job thing.
Yes.
You know, worked in corporate, and it just wasn't working out for me. And it sounds weird, but I had like an epiphany that this is not what I wanted to do with my life. That wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. And then when I left the company I worked for, then I knew it had to be something that was going to be meaningful.
Yeah. Make an impact in some way.
Make an impact. Yeah. It had to be something I wanted to do, you know, for the rest of my life. So.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, welcome to the world of entrepreneurship and coaching. It definitely is extremely satisfying being a coach. I'm in the same space, as you know, and just sharing your expertise with someone else who to us seems like day-to-day knowledge and stuff that we assume people know, and to find out that people don't, and just to guide them on that journey is such a meaningful, satisfying journey. So let's talk a little bit about now business finance, and what is the real difference between a business finance coach versus like a business coach?
So a business coach, so if you're talking about a general business coach, they would normally not specialize in any sort of field within the business. So I do some of that if the coachee wants to talk about, general talk around marketing or strategy or, that sort of things. But I always try and tie everything we do to the financials. And that's the specific angle that I take, that to make sure that, helping the coachee understand that whatever decision they make, it's contributing to the financial sustainability of the business. So that for me is the main difference, I think, between business coaching and business finance coaching. Whereas business coaching, that term is more like a general term for all the whole business, like you can talk about anything. Whereas business finance coaching is like special, it's like a niche area that you're focusing on. And the difference with my practice going forward, and I've started developing this and going forward, is that, financial literacy training, business financial literacy training for small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Well, I think the reality is finance determines the health of a business, right?
It is, yeah.
So that's quite a nice key area for you to focus on, and with your accounting background, it goes hand in hand. So tell us a little bit about then, now that we know kind of more about you focusing more on finance side, like why is it so important though, as businesses and entrepreneurs, to have cash flow in our business, whether it's a big or small business, just because we're a small one person startup entrepreneur, is it required that we need cash flow? What is cash flow, and why is it so critical for businesses?
So cash flow is like, it's basically the blood of the business. It's basically that thing that makes sure that you can continue with your business in the future. In accounting, we say it indicates whether your company can be a going concern in the future, whether your company can continue to exist in the future. And let's look at the implications if there's no cash in your business, right? So imagine an investor looking at your company accounts, or and seeing that, your debtors are not paying on time, or you're not paying your suppliers on time. So what that means is that, if your debtors are not paying, that means you can't pay your suppliers. And if you can't pay your suppliers, it indicates possible legal problems in the future, and that will severely impact the fact that your company's possible existence in the future. And that would probably be the end of your business. So, and you find that, right, if you're not paying your suppliers, they're going to withhold delivery of goods for you. They're going to take out judgment against you. You'll get blacklisted and you won't be able to continue as a business. So that's probably the most important reason of why cash is important in your business, to be able to pay your debts.
Okay, so understanding that now, I think one thing that I want to also then know is kind of maybe how can you help us, or give us a few tips as to helping us, or should I say top tips to share with us regarding cash flow, and what we need to do to maybe help us be aware of, do we have cash flow, what is cash flow, some of the top tips for us to share in terms of cash flow in our businesses.
So obviously, the first thing to know about cash flow is, if you're not selling anything, if you don't have a product that's selling, you're not going to get any cash, right? So you have to have a product to sell that people want to buy in order to be able to get cash. So that's, it goes without saying, but that's like a very obvious point. So just say you have the product, you have the sales, but you're still not getting payments from your customers. So the thing about cash flow is that prevention is always better than cure, right? So being proactive about cash flow management, and one of the best way to do that is a cash flow forecast. So with my clients, I always say, uh, if I Google cash flow forecasts, there's so many templates out there. It's very confusing. But the most easiest thing to do, the whole purpose of the cash flow forecast is to know when are you getting paid and when do you have to pay your suppliers. So I would do a simple exercise. All your customer invoices, just list them one by one. And next, in the next column, when do you expect this payment to happen? And every time, every day, see which customer is expected to pay today, and just follow up with them. Just be like really proactive about it, because the truth is sometimes customers don't have the best processes themselves. They forget, or worst case scenario, they don't have the cash to pay. But sometimes they just forget. They just like they lost your invoice, they lost your email, they don't have reminders. Just like you, they are human, so sometimes they just forget. So just be very proactive about it and just follow up on payments. And your suppliers, when it comes to supplier payments, negotiate decent terms of payment with the suppliers. So, and if your supplier payment terms is 30 days, pay on the 30th day, stretch it out as far as possible so that you have enough time to, pay that supplier. And then, other tips, invoice on time. People don't invoice on time, so their cash flow is completely messed up. So you did the work 2 weeks ago and you like totally forgot to invoice. Have a system in place that invoices in time, and you will get paid in time. And then, if you have big orders, do credit checks with your customers. Just have a policy for your company. If anyone's buying more than 100,000 Rand, do an ITC credit check on them, because that's a possibly huge implication for your company if that customer can't pay. And then, if they don't pay, charge them 2% interest per month, because you can, and the National Credit Act allows that. So, but the first thing, be proactive, and then you can, have all these other things that
I think that's the critical factor for me as well, is anticipating what you are expecting to get in, because I think also kind of coming from my side makes us more accountable, as well as to what we need to go and get. Because if we know we need to sell 5 programs and we've only sold 3, it's going to also encourage us to go and look for the other 2 sales that we need to make it up, So I agree. It helps us just to achieve our goal. It helps us to get to that number that we all want to achieve. And as you say, in the same way, making us proactive and also managing it. Because I often think, like you say, as crazy as it sounds, entrepreneurs can get to a point where they just forget to invoice. And you just think, do they have enough money? So that they
exactly
don't invoice?
Yeah.
It's a management process, as you say, and just being proactive and doing it in time. And absolutely, I think the total thing for me as well is how much are you expecting to get paid, and how much are you having to pay, and by when. And like you said, that allow you to see also when you've got cash, when you don't have cash. The only thing is always invoice on time. That's always my question at the end of the month. Do I invoice on the 25th? Do I invoice on the 30th? But that's a decision for, I suppose, all entrepreneurs. But as long as you invoice consistently, that is the most important thing. So just to recap on those, I've kind of summed it up as you need a product or service to sell. Love that idea. And I think aligned
if no one wants to buy your thing, you're not going to have, you're not going to be able to sell it. You're not going to have cash. So
exactly. And that's where Praneeta and I kind of come hand in hand. Is your product or service still relevant, and who's your target market, right? So once we get that sorted, what's our price? Is our price right? And then kind of going into being proactive. As she said, do a cash flow forecast. I think that's so critical. It doesn't matter how big or small your business is. And most importantly, negotiate with your suppliers where you can, and kind of pay them as late as you can, if I can sum it up. And then just as a PS, always invoice on time. I think it also just shows a professionalism from your part as a business owner too. And then just to close up for this awesome Friday, maybe just explain, I think some people assume cash flow means profit. Well, I think Praneeta can share with us. You can maybe just clarify, does cash flow mean profit?
So cash flow does not mean profit. So the way you calculate profit is that it's, revenue less costs give you profit, right? So the rules for calculating revenue and expenses is that whether you get paid or not, you still have to recognize that revenue. So that's your first distinction, okay? So just say, for example, like raising a debtor in your books is like a classic example. So if you have invoiced the customer for work that you have done, then you have recognized the revenue and you've raised a debtor in your books. So that's a non-cash item that is going into your income statement, and therefore, there's no way that cash and profit can be equal, because cash is literally just dictated by how the timing of receipt and payments from your customer, and it's the amount in your bank statement. So there's no non-cash adjustment that goes in calculating your cash, your bank account statement. It's all just literally just physical cash received. So yeah, that's why cash and profit cannot be the same.
Good. Well, that's a great thing to sum it up, because I think often people think, yay, I've got money in my bank, so I'm making profit. Well, the reality is, Praneeta says, it's not the same.
Yeah.
There's still costs to be considered. Once all the costs are factored out of it, then we can consider it being profit. But until then, again, being proactive, managing your process, managing your monies, that will allow you to see a rather, if you're making profit or not. So thank you so much again, Praneeta, for sharing with us today, and congratulations on your first official interview live online. I think you did a fantastic job, and this is one to many more to come. Praneeta and I work quite a bit alongside each other on the marketing side, and she's kind of gives me tips and advice as well on the finance side as a finance coach. So awesome, just to show you how entrepreneurs can help each other and come together and support each other. So thank you again, Praneeta, for joining us. Next week, I'll be joined by Linda Dent, and we'll be talking about P with Glee. Rather interesting. She's a business coach. And yeah, please, if you did enjoy the interview, give us a comment, go on and share it. And we hope to see you again then next time, same place. Again, apologies for a bit of an interruption in the beginning with the signal, but I guess I feel a bit like Ivan Meisner, where am I in the world? And yes, I am away. I was away last couple of days with my boys as they're on leave for school, but nothing stops us for a bit of Friendly Friday, coming together and sharing a like. So until next week, thanks so much, everybody. And thanks again, Praneeta.
Thanks a lot, Megan. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, that was cool.